Interesting news that's come out because I wanted to speak about this tonight. It's a great segue. Mohamed Salah, this comes from the agent of Mohamed Salah. His injury is more serious than first thought, and he will be out for this very specific 21 to 28 days, so 3 to 4 weeks, and not just 2 games. He's had a lot of stick in the last 24 hours. People saying that he's let his country down because he's come back to England. It's a disgrace that he hadn't stayed with his country through his injury and become a cheerleader for them. Hasn't coached the team. Well, what do you make of this, Ram? Because a lot of people online have turned on Mohamed Salah for not staying with the Egypt squad, even though it looks like he's got a really serious hamstring injury.
From the way I heard it, it was more or less Egypt gave the green light of him going back to Liverpool. He'll go into rehab, get all this stuff sorted, and if Egypt do well in AFCON, he'll go back to AFCON. I expected him to be out for the entire tournament. As in, like, he's not going to be there. Like, he's got a hamstring injury. Hamstring injury is minimum 2 to 3 weeks. If not, it's going to be more than that. So he was going to miss AFCON. And the way I saw it, get the best medical treatment. Get the best medical treatment that you can get. And if Egypt are okay with him going back to Liverpool and getting that treatment, going into rehab, then I don't see what the issue is. Because at the end of the day, Salah's looking out for his own career. And look, I get it. He wants to. If anyone doubts how passionate Salah is about his country, then you clearly don't watch him on a regular or don't even know what he's about. Because he's passionate about his country. He wants to do what's best for his country, and also he wants to do well for his country. And the fact that he tried to get back to Liverpool to get the medical need that he got, just so that he could try and go back, it was just like he wanted to do what's best for his country. And look, now he can't play a single game for Egypt.
Yeah. And people in the comments saying it's a disgrace. Question. Atypically, when a player gets a tournament-ending injury, how regularly have we seen that player sitting on the bench, maybe in the game, Ronaldo in the final of the Euros? But when Rio Ferdinand got his knee injured just before the England tournament started, I think in 2010, he came home. I mean, whenever someone's had an injury, a tournament-ending injury, have they stayed at the tournament? As far as we're aware, saying that Mo Salah is a disgrace.
As soon as Neymar got that injury in 2014, he was sent straight to he was not longer with the team. He was in hospital. That's how it is. It's all because the fact that he tried to make it seem as though he wants to come back as soon as possible, and people took it the wrong way, saying like, "Oh, he's just hoping that the team does well, and when he does turn well, he gets to be the face of everything," which is completely ridiculous. People misread the headline and came up with a stupid.
Miss Serious, and it's different though. He is the captain and the talisman. Carl said Ferdinand wasn't the main man. Salah is. So because he's the main man, he should stay, injured for the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
So if he's the main man, then every single Egypt player will be playing out of their skins for him. Then they wouldn't need him there. Actually, it will give him more motivation of the fact that every single Egypt player will fight for not only for the country but for their main talisman. So
you can understand why some people are upset about this, bro, can't you? Like, especially if you're an Egyptian.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't look good, does it? Let's be honest, it doesn't look good. And to be honest, this probably goes down to the way it's been handled. You know what I mean? They probably should have released like a proper statement as to really explain why he's gone back to Liverpool, because there's some people out here who don't really know why he's gone back. You know what I mean? If he's getting medical treatment, could he not get medical treatment with the Egyptian squad? Do you know what I mean? Are they saying that Liverpool has a better rehab and recovery, and therefore they might be able to get him back sooner? So if they're still in the tournament, he can come back. Like, it's not really been explained very well, but I can fully understand why, if you're an Egyptian person, this doesn't look particularly good, and you would want him maybe to hang around and really support the team. He's their leader, he's their hero, and he's just dipped. You know, so he's got injured, he just dipped and gone straight back to Liverpool. It doesn't look good. So I'd like to, I think they've not handled it particularly well. I think this whole situation, they probably should have done like a proper statement as to explain what's going on here. But I can understand why people are upset, bro. Like, I'd be upset if I was Egyptian. Facts.
I think majority of people are comparing him to former Egyptian greats, and they're saying Mo Salah never got Egypt over the line. And people are viewing this AFCON, or maybe the next AFCON, they'll look at it as his last tournament. But some people are looking at this as one of his last chances to maybe get Egypt. Egypt are one of the better teams in these tournaments consistently. And he's been a runner-up twice. He's never gotten Egypt to an AFCON, and people have the audacity to put him as one of the best Egyptians to ever play the game. Yes, he might be the best Egyptian to play in Europe, but Abu Trika is better than him. And most people are coming from the perspective of how dare he try to put himself as one of the Egyptian greats when he has never delivered for Egypt. Guess what? Some people are going to say he's being selfish. He's going back to Liverpool. He should stick with the team and he should ride it out. I knew from the moment he got injured versus Ghana that he was going to come back, because I just had a feeling that he was not going to ride it out and he was going to come back.
So, Igal, if you were,
1 second, let me finish. Coincidentally, the team actually performed better when they didn't have a focal point in Mo Salah and they were just allowed to do their thing and be more free. I think Mo Salah coming back after they get to the final or the semi-final is a slap in the face to the players in his team. Because how is he going to say, "Oh, I'm going to go and I'm going to come back" when you guys have already done all the hard work?
Unless that was the plan,
if you were a sports person, would you want the best medical treatment for yourself?
Bro, it's not about that. It's not about that.
No, it is. At this point, there is only one.
No.
Do you know why would he go back to Liverpool unless he was seeking the best medical treatment?
Circumstances. They drew. If I'm not mistaken, they drew 2 games. Am I wrong? They drew 2 games in the AFCON, and now they're playing top of the group Cape Verde. They pretty much know they're going to be out. So it's almost a slap in the face to say, "Oh, I'm gonna come back in the semifinal." They have to face uphill battle. It would have been better off for team morale, for the fact that you're the captain, the talisman, the main man, to be there at least in the team with the team, rather than just say, "Oh, I'm gonna go back."
Why would it be better?
Yeah,
it would be better if there's an opportunity for him to come back and possibly make the final. Why would that be better for him to just sit there, let his injuries, continue to not get better, and just to be there as a puppet on the bench?
It's not even a minor. It's a major hamstring. It's a major hamstring sprain.
1 second. We're acting like medicine only is good in England. Like, there's doctors everywhere. He can get medical attention anywhere. Why does he have to all of a sudden?
Even in England, there are certain facilities that can do certain procedures.
As the captain, a man who's supposed to be the main man for Egypt, as the captain, the main chance for them to win, why is he leaving? I get it. Oh, he might come back. But if they get knocked out in this game versus Cape Verde tonight at 8 p.m., no matter what he does, he's never going to come back.
Even if he stayed in Egypt, even if he stayed with, you'd have to leave.
I don't want to hear it. It shows you don't want to hear it. It shows that Mo Salah cares more.
You just don't want to hear the other side of the story, bro.
Yeah, you just want to hear your own narrative.
It shows
want to hear your own narrative.
You know what? The funny thing is, I actually like Mo Salah. But this right here,
you're showing it.
I know it doesn't sound like it.
This right here pissed me off because it shows that he cares more about Liverpool.
That's not true.
How?
Let me ask you a question, Igal. Like, where's the precedent for injured players staying with squads when they get tournament-ending injuries? You very rarely see. Beckham did it once.
Hang on. He could be back.
He could be back, but they're now saying it's definitely going to be a month and he won't be. So people are now kicking off saying even though he can't kick another ball at the tournament, he should stay. So do you think that's right? If players get injured at international tournaments moving forward, so Saka in the summer at the Euros rips a hamstring in the first game, he's going to be out for a month. Should he stay with the England squad, or would you prefer him to go back to Arsenal, start his rehabilitation for your season? Which of those two do you think you should do?
1 second. First of all, Terry, my initial statement was on the statement that was released the other day, which was that he could potentially be back for the end of the tournament.
Well, he can't.
That's basically what I was basing my argument on. Okay. If you're saying he's out for an extended period, then it doesn't make sense for him to stick around for no reason. But the main reason why I'm saying, it seems like he knows that his team's out, and he's just saying, I'm going to leave.
No, hold on. The quote is that the injury is more serious than first thought. He'll be out from 21 to 28 days. His best chance at participating in the current AFCON is by undergoing intensive rehabilitation in the UK and rejoining the team as soon as he's fit. That's the quote out 24 minutes ago from Fabrizio Romano.
Yeah, which he's not going to make.
No, he ain't going to make it back. And do you know what's really crazy about this whole thing? Are we going to take this to club level? Like, when a player gets injured at a football club, if it's a serious injury, they're sometimes not even if they're English, they are, because they typically live there. But I remember when Antonio Valencia broke his ankle, he spent a lot of his rehabilitation back in Ecuador. as an example. When players are injured, managers don't even want injured players in dressing rooms. They want them out of the way. So I just think, again, I understand where people are coming from to a degree, but what you have to look at in these situations is what is atypical when this happens. And are we holding Mo Salah to a standard that isn't applied to 99% of all other players? I agree with LB. I think the optics don't look particularly good, but I just think I just saw it yesterday. He's a disgrace. And I thought, I've never seen a player called a disgrace for being injured before. It's crazy.
Christian Romero at Tottenham.
Oh my God. Forget it.
Oh, did he get called out? I didn't know.
So he was before the World Cup. He was injured, and then he was like halfway getting better, and then he went off and so our fans completely blasted him for like faking an injury.
One second. People have the audacity to say, "Oh, he got them to a World Cup. That's delivering." He was a semi-finalist twice for them and never won them at AFCON. To compare him to the greats of Egypt's history, you cannot be one of the greats and not win them an AFCON.
Can I ask you a question? I mean, but Egyptian people say he's one of their greats. Can I ask you a question?
Egyptian people say Mohamed Abu Trika is the greatest Egyptian player.
The greatest. Again, you're missing my words. I have seen Egyptians say that he is one of their greats, not their great, one of their greats. I'll ask you a question. This panel, there's one Arsenal fan on it. You. Do we have a right to tell you as an Arsenal fan who your greats are more so than you do of your club? Who are you to tell Egyptians who their great players are?
One second, Terry. I'm not telling people who their greats are. I'm just telling people.
You're saying he's not one of their greats. That's literally what you did.
I'm educating the people who are saying Mohamed Salah is the great on Abu Trika. Do they know who Abu Trika is? Do they know what he's doing?
No, we're aware of the Egyptian golden generation back in the early 2000s. We know about them. Okay. But it's when some people say that Salah's the greatest Egyptian player. I don't have any bearing on it because obviously I'm not Egyptian myself. But if an Egyptian says that, I can't argue with it.
Listen, I think it is almost as close to a fact as you can get that the Egyptian public view Mo Salah as one of their greatest ever players. Now, some people in the comments saying he's not their greatest. No, I haven't said that, so don't quote that, you dickheads, because that's not what I'm fucking saying. I mean, it's just ridiculous. If you're going to challenge if you're going to challenge my view, you have to challenge what I've said, not change it and then challenge the fake quote. He's one of their greatest. I find it weird notion that people say he can't be. Ask the Egyptian people, they love him. What are you talking about?
Terry, I agree with you. The Egyptian people probably love him. But the fact is, when it comes to saying he's the greatest, he doesn't have that statement until he delivers.
I get you, but can I ask you a question, right? If Ram goes around saying, I don't think Bergkamp is one of Arsenal's greatest players, does that impact what you think and feel about him in the reality of the matter?
By the way, I rate Bergkamp. He's one of the greatest Arsenal players.
That's hypothetical. It's crazy to me. Listen, I think this is... I think I know what this is. I think this is all political. And not from a sinister way. Attacking Mo Salah now is being done by people that will be holding a different African superstar as one of the greatest, because this is what you get in player debates. We find ways to chop each other down. So it'll be right. We can use this that he doesn't love his country. He turned his back on his country. So when the debates in another 3 or 4 years happen of the greatest AFCON players of all time, they will use this as a reason to knock him down. It's planting a very early seed in the debates. That's all this is for me. It's just, we see it all the time. That's what this is.
But Terry, he can't be until he wins it.
He can't be what?
He can't be one of the greatest Africans until he's actually done something in Africa.
Why not?
But he is
one of. It's not one of. I'm not saying the greatest. It's saying
that's
one
waffle,
of.
bro. That is absolute waffle.
You can't be one of the greatest until you've won things. Okay, so does that make lots of Man United players greater than Thierry Henry because they won exponentially more than him in England?
No, that's a different context.
Okay, no. I got. Okay, so by your logic, you think that Steven Gerrard is not one of Liverpool's greatest ever players?
He won you guys multiple Champions League, multiple European trophies.
No, but you compare it to the golden era of Liverpool legends like Hansen, Dalglish, Souness.
I've got a better one for you. You are confirming.
Yes, that's the question.
You are confirming that Marcus Rashford is better than Saka because he won more trophies, right?
No, 1 second. Listen to what I'm saying. Can you tell me? Can you tell me that Rooney's the greatest ever English player to play for England without him actually winning them anything?
He's one of the greatest, but he isn't the greatest. No,
that's my point. Thank you. We finally got there.
He's one of the greatest.
He's one of the greatest, though.
I agree with you there. I'm just saying he's not the greatest until he delivers.
But there are many English fans of a certain generation that think Paul Gascoigne is England's greatest ever player, and he didn't win an international trophy.
So then
yeah.
you agree with that. But that's my
Terry,
point.
I've got ahead of Terry. Yeah, I
Cheers, mate. I appreciate that. Thank you, Ram. I appreciate it, mate. Flying visit. JJ's here with us now. I love a debate like this. Let's go to some more super chats. According to Igal, Drogba wasn't an African great. Yeah, Drogba didn't win it. Is he not? To say that Drogba was not one of the greatest African players of all time is a madness.
Guess what? Drogba actually failed with his country continuously. So based on that, he doesn't get on the level of Eto'o or on the level of a Riyad Mahrez because those guys delivered for their countries.
Okay. Fair enough. But I think you could use that as a reason why there's people that are greater than him. But I still think most people from the Ivory Coast, and I think a lot of people from different African nations would say he's one of that continent's greatest ever players. Because you have to take into consideration as well the countries people play for, how good those teams are. Jules Best is one of the world's greatest ever players. He was never going to win anything with Northern Ireland.
And why did everyone say when Messi won the World Cup, he settled the GOAT debate? Because he won the biggest trophy. Yes,
but there's a difference here. Messi's playing for a nation that has atypically been always has a pretty strong team. You can't use that if talking about Jules Best. You can't use that when talking about Haaland right now because he plays for Norway. They've never been a great nation. You've got to take. That's why you can't just have a blanket on international football. You can't just have a blanket approach of if you haven't won your continent's international trophy, that rules you out of great conversations. You've got to look at the country, where that country is when that time's playing. Come on now.
Terry, the situation is different though. Let's go back 1 second, 2 seconds. We're talking about Mo Salah and we're talking about Egypt, which is the greatest African country in Afghan history. And he's been to 2 finals and he bottled it twice.
Okay.
I know.
So now we're going back to the point you said that you weren't doing, that the Egyptians can't call him a great.
No,
they do.
I'm saying they can't call him the greatest.
They don't. No one's arguing that, Igal. No one's arguing that point.
That's my point, Terry.
Cool. Then don't argue anymore. We both agree.
Done.
Let's go. One of Egypt's best players or one of the best Egyptian players, there's a difference. Egypt's best players, one of the best Egyptian players. What's the difference between those two statements other than the way they're written?
I think it's like, so one of Egypt's best players is best player playing for Egypt, and one of the best Egyptian players is weird, but like that is like maybe a player that's Egyptian, hasn't really done it well for Egypt, but has done well. Like
right, yeah, I get you.